let's talk about some keywords in audio and audio editing. So you guys should all be familiar with an MP3. This is the file type that you most likely would have downloaded if you were downloading music onto your computer, or taking music off of a CD, which I know people don't do, but you should be familiar with an MP3. The MP3s are great because they are small file types, they are smaller file types, but that does mean because of the small file size, they do have a sort of lack in quality versus something like a WAV, which is large, uncompressed, high quality. So it's a large file type, but it does have much higher audio quality than an MP3. So if you were listening to an audio if you had two of the same audios, one was a WAV, one was an MP3, the WAV's just going to sound better. So that's something to keep in mind. We can export WAV files in Audacity once you're done editing your audio in Audacity. Two other file types you should know. MP4, we should know what that is by now. That is audio and video put together. And M4A file, that is another audio type that's specific to Apple. That is what my iPhone records in on my voice memo, and that's what I get when I put it on my desktop. Now, I do talk about in Audacity how we can only import WAVs or MP3s into Audacity. We can't import MP4s or M4As without that extension. I do talk about that FFmpeg extension for Audacity in this video. Audacity is free. It should run on all your computers. So if you are utilizing Audacity, please install the free extension. That way we can just go in Audacity, and let me get rid of this, and I can bring this video that I took off the Canon and just drag it right into Audacity, no problems. That way I don't need to convert it in Premiere Pro over to an MP3 first. Please get the extension, please get Audacity, please do that. So, yeah. I have a couple other words that we should have an idea of what they mean, especially after Thursday when we had our brain zapped with a bunch of audio information. So let's talk about loops. We should all know what loops are. That is when once the audio has reached its end, it goes back and plays again from the beginning over and over. The volume, that's going to be the loudness of a sound. It's different than gain. Gain is the audio signal expressed in decibels. And we should be familiar with adjusting gain in Premiere Pro when we right-click an audio file, audio gain, and we adjusted it +1 decibel, -1 decibel, whatever. And that ended up, here, let's zoom in. We'll go audio gain, let's adjust it by, let's say just 20, let's go crazy. And you see how those audio peaks expanded. So I mean, 20 is going to be way too much, but that gain is going to make that mute. We're just going to watch our EQ over here. And you see how it's peaking. That means that the audio is going to be distorted. Now in Premiere Pro, I can bring that down. Let me pause it and zoom in just a bit. You should see this little bar here. And while I'm playing my audio, whoa, that's not what I wanted. I'm just zoomed in really closely, sorry. See how it's peaking? I can move that bar down just a little bit so that my audio doesn't reach that, that point of clipping. We want to keep our audio down somewhere in this mid to low range. Okay, so we've also talked about compression, normalization, and clipping, which all kind of go together as this compression being the range of an audio clip. So we think about like where does it peak, where are the peaks and where are the valleys, and how can we normalize it. And this animation did not come over to Canvas, but essentially this is a normalization of audio where we're taking it and sort of trying to bring it so it's not so jarringly different. Normalization and compression and filtering, that all will have an effect on your audio quality. So like I say in one of the earlier tutorials, good audio starts with good recording. So the better your recording is, the less you have to edit. And there are filters and effects I want to go over. And of course, like clipping, we have that distortion where I was just showing you how it clips out if my audio level is too high. And that's going to sound really crappy and scary and just like jarring to the ears. It's not going to sound good. Let's talk about editing in Audacity. So I have that, we don't need this anymore. I have that MP4 video that also hosted the audio. And I want to go over a couple things we can do here. So we can view our, make sure we have our playback device. That is going to be my headphones that is in recording. I would probably record from my microphone. You cannot plug in the microphones that came with the DSLRs into your computers. You would need a TRRS connector for that. I do have those at school, so that's, if you do want to grab a mic and connect it to your computer or even like your phone, if your phone still has an audio jack. But you cannot plug the ones we have, the ones that came with your kits, because it does not, they're only for the DSLRs. Let me just put it that way. So making sure my setup is, my playback is right, my recording is correct. I'm not going to be recording, but you absolutely can record here. I can see my EQ, so my gain, and I can see this is for my recording level, and this is for my playback level. I'm not gonna play this clip, but let's split it up. Well, actually, I will have to play it. I'm just trying to get to the part where I start recording. All right, so right about here is when I stop talking and I start doing the audio recording. So I'm just gonna, with my cursor, highlight that all and delete it. So here I can see already, just viewing the audio, this is going to be the sand and this is going to be the little popping noise I make. I think I can clip this out too. Yep, and let's just delete that. So from here, I can split this up again. I'm just going to highlight it and then right click. I can split clip. Cool. So I have my popping noise and I have my sand noise. So I can copy this, Control copy or Control C, Command C, whatever you use, and I can move my cursor over here and paste it. And say I just want like a piece of it. I can, something non-destructive, so you see I have my whole audio there. Something non-destructive I can do is just sort of going in, oops, and I can shrink it down. That way I can still keep the rest of the audio if I want, but I'm only using this section. So I guess to put it in explain it in a little bit simpler terms is, it's like if you've used a mask in Photoshop where you're covering up pieces of the image without actually using like your eraser or brush tool on top of it. And this is really nice because it preserves the clip and you can come back and extend it out or do different effects on it. But I have my different audio here. So I have my sand, my popper, and my sand again. So I can go in and I'm watching the EQ. I can lower the playback level in my headphones. And I can grab this little envelope tool and I can shrink this down so the EQ is, or the gain is like a little bit more balanced, I should say. So what does that sound like here? Cool. Some other things that we could do is, let me just copy this using my cursor to snap these in place along my timeline. We can do, let's do an effect. So we can do, how about a crossfade? Or actually, let's do, a, on here, let's bring, oops, grabbing that popping noise effect, and we're gonna do a high pass filter. And let's try a low pass filter. And I hope I will upload these audio clips. I hope you can hear them in, that sounds goofy. I hope you can hear them in this recording. Let's see, what else can we do? We can do a, let's do a reverb, and just with this clip, we can preview it. Okay. So there's this sort of like brass instrument effect that I got from adding that reverb in. Let's do, on this one, let's do a distortion. And we'll do maybe a leveler. And what this is doing is essentially isolating those little salt particles. I don't know if you remember in the video or if you saw, but those salt granules were pretty big. So this leveler is taking, let's go back here and play. If you listen closely, you'll hear sort of like just gentle reverberations of those salt particles sliding around. I'm gonna move this guy. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. Wrong tool. I'm gonna move this guy out. I'm just copying and pasting. So let's see if we can hear a difference. Cool. So, I definitely would recommend just playing around and trying different effects to see what you're gonna get. Let's do a change pitch. Oops. And that kind of sounds like a bug. So let's go ahead and apply it. But we can take, once you're done editing, we can take this, we can export audio. Go to the desktop and we can either export the entire selection or the current selection. So I only have just this little like bug sounding one I edited, and we can trim the blank space before the first clip. Let's go and export. And he should be right here. Oh, I hate iTunes. So, in Audacity, let's give it a listen, muting this track. Great. So I can directly take these into Premiere Pro, the same way that I take all my other files, just drag them into my project. And I'm not going to really add this to this video file, although this has already been exported. I can just drag it right into there. Oh, and she's muted, that's why. Okay. So I can watch that here in Premiere Pro, assuming, you know, I would have my video up here in my video section. But now that we're getting, so we've done some audio editing, real rudimentary and experimental in Audacity. Like, we've got our clips in there. We know how to break them up. We know how to add effects, which I'm not going to tell you which ones to use because I want you to play around and see what kind of weird stuff you can do to the audio you're recording. But once you've exported that, bring it into Premiere Pro, and we can go into Workspaces, Audio, and here we can actually view our audio the same way we can view our EQ in Audacity. So I can take this. Oops. Oh, shoot. Let me grab it. Where did it go? I think it was this one. So we can multi-layer it. Oh gosh, that's not the right audio. Where is it? What is it called? MVI, yep. So I have that bug noise. And you see I can watch all these tracks and adjust the gain of each one. Same way I can do it here with this bar. I can also adjust reverb on certain tracks. And in my effects panel, and just remember I went to Window, Workspaces, Audio for this. I can go to Audio Effects, Filter and EQ, Delay and Echo. Making sure I have my piece selected. Maybe we'll add in a modulation here. So I don't know if you guys can hear, but I added this modulation, the flanger, and it kind of sounds like a space laser. So just like in the video editing, I'm just clicking and dragging these just like right on top of these audio, and then giving her a listen, making sure nothing is clipping here in my EQ. And then of course I would line this up with my actual video of this salt, of me, say, turning that salt shaker around. So I can layer this, and then I can also cut these nice and tight. So I have 3 layers going with this sort of dynamic effect of this salt spinning in the jar that ends up feeling kind of sci-fi in the end. So, I think that should end it here. This is a good place to stop. This is a lot of information. So yeah, awesome, cool.